So you can see we're in the configuration directory of our bind server on Ubuntu. Let's go through and open up our name.conf.option file. So I'm going to use vi. And we're going to add some extra options in. We're going to make sure that this is turned on rather than auto, so I'm having the validation turned on. We also need to have DNSSEC itself turned on, so DNSSEC-enable, and that needs to be turned on. And the final option that we need in here, so DNSSEC-look-aside, and we need this set to auto. So with these configuration changes made, we can go through and save that file. Moving into the directory that we work with within var, so /var cache and bind, when we look in this directory we can see what we have in here. So nothing too much at the moment, and we're going to start generating some keys. We're first of all going to create the overall zone signing key. So we can use DNSSEC keygen, and then the algorithm that we're going to use, and then the bit size. So this we're setting then to 2048. This time it's going to be set to zone for the type of key that we're creating, and it's going to be, for example, .com. Next up, we need to generate a key signing key. So this is going to be used within the signed zone itself. So if we recall the previous command and then just move to the beginning of the line and add in the flag, so -f KSK. So that's then generated this additional key. If we take a look at what we've generated, so if I just go through and use LSK star, then we've generated then a public key and a private key pair for both the zone signing and the key signing key. And we need to add the public keys through into our zone. So we'll do this with a simple loop, will be the easiest way. So for k in, and we're going to look just at the output of ls k, and it's just going to be star.key. And then we're going to enter the do loop, so we iterate through, and we're going to then echo out, and this is going to be quite simple, where we want to echo out then the line beginning with $, so we just escape that so it's not read as a variable, and then include, and then our variable itself, so the $k. And this of course needs to be sent through, so appended, make sure we're appending here, not overwriting, our file db.example. Now the $include is a little bit like the generate, it's read by the zone itself. So it's going to be reading in the key each time the server starts up. We're ready with this now, so we can use then our done. And if we go through and look at the end of the file, see what we've done. So if we look at the db.example, then we've added in both of those key files. Let's clear the screen. Again, when we look at the directory at the moment, we still then just have our db.example. What we're going to do now is that we're going to generate a new version of this zone. So we're going to create a signed version of this. So DNSSEC. This time we're using the signed zone. And we're just setting up then the salt that we're going to use. I'm just using a random number here, but you might want to use some kind of calculation to generate the randomness. And we're going to specify that the zone serial number is going to be incremented when changes are made. And again, we're working with the example.com zone. and then the actual zone file now, so putting in our db.example. So with this in place, we should be ready to go. And we can then go through and see all of the work that this has done. When we clear out the screen and run a listing from here, we've now got the db.example.signed. So this is the file that we'll be using. Moving back then to my configuration directory, we're going to invite named.conf. and then looking in the local file, and we need to then go through and make a change to the file that we're pointing to, because now it's going to be the signed file. We can go through and check our configuration, so named-checkconf. We see it looks like there's a problem, so it's probably a good idea that we checked this. So let's go through and re-edit that configuration. So we've got on here and it should be yes, so let's go through and replace that. I'm going to say that was a deliberate mistake so that we remember to use the checkconf, but it does show the importance of running the checkconf. And now let's go through and restart the service. I'm going to completely restart the service. Now when we go through, let's clear this out. When we go through and look at our dig commands, let's just do a Control-R and look for our dig command. And then if we go through and look, say, for our name server records, for our own example.com, we see that we're getting the 2 name server records, and we're then getting the digital signature coming back. So with the use of the public key, we'd be able to verify this. Now, of course, I'm not going to have a fully structured signature because I haven't uploaded this to the .com zone and have it then delegated and signed. But we can start seeing the progress working and the mechanism that's in place. So hopefully this has given you an understanding of how we can set up signed zones and how DNSSEC can enhance your security. Let's move back into the slides now so we can finish up on this section.